Well, as all things with Syria, old adversaries becoming new friends in the dizzyingly shifting battlefield and the accompanying Machiavellian politics here in Syria, as we're seeing the first ever political delegation being sent by the YPG-linked Syrian Democratic Forces, which are, of course, the Syrian version of the PKK terror group, meeting with the Assad regime. And they're hoping for a quid pro quo for concessions by the SDF to allow the Assad regime control of major oil fields that are under the control of the YPG forces in eastern Syria. And in return, they are hoping for some level of recognition by the Assad regime in Damascus to allow them some level of administrative and autonomous control over the areas in northern and northeastern Syria that these YPG forces control. So this trade-off may lead to a new phase in the Syrian conflict where the SDF, which is essentially the YPG forces in eastern Syria, would be offered political control in eastern Syria. We do know that the Pentagon has encouraged the YPG forces in eastern Syria to create a political party which they believe may be palatable to the Assad regime. So some interesting political possible shifts in eastern Syria, whereas a U.S.-backed force in eastern Syria, a military force, and its political party may now become allied with the Assad regime. So this is more than likely a recognition by the YPG forces that the Assad regime is more or less winning the war in Syria. But one other thing here, we have heard some reports that the YPG forces in Damascus have also told the Assad regime that they are possibly willing to join the Assad regime in any future possible campaign against the last remaining rebel holdouts in the northwest province of Idlib. So that may lead to some interesting alliances between the YPG and the so-called SDF and the Assad regime if a political deal is finalized in Damascus. But this meeting is certainly unprecedented and may lead to a new political reality in Syria as the Assad regime forces continue to win
and Oubai,
the war
let me
against
ask
the
you,
rebel forces.
Yeah, how closely then is Turkey watching these talks, given the YPG is looking to get at least partial control of areas right on Turkey's border?
Well, this is certainly going to be worrying for many Turkish officials, given that the Syrian Democratic Forces are essentially just a rebranded version of the PKK terror group. So this may lead to an alliance, essentially, between the PKK and the Assad regime, and to cement the political administrative control of the YPG and the PKK over large swaths of northeastern and eastern Syria. That, of course, will be worrying to many officials in Ankara as the Assad regime continues to negotiate with the political version of the PKK in Syria today.